And good morning. Welcome on this Monday morning. Well, Lindel was brave enough to come back today. Good morning,
Yes.
Lindel.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Glad to have you on again.
Yep.
As always. Okay, to just kind of recap, the city put out their own version of the audit. Ms. Beth Wood was not too thrilled with that.
Right.
So
That's an understatement.
yeah, it is. Because Lindel spoke with her and he knows firsthand. So anyway, we got the audit back Friday as promised. It was right on the website at 10 o'clock, just as she promised. You can all download it. It's so easy. Her website is so user-friendly when it comes to downloading. She's got all the audits listed there, and we're on the top. Imagine that. And so anyway, I have the audit in hand. Lindel, Lindel got it as well and looked over it. Lindel, Beth Wood said, some of their information was incorrect.
Right.
So what are the discrepancies between the two?
I think the major issue with the city's response is that it tries to mitigate everything in the audit report. It tries to downplay it, and it tries to confuse everything.
It does.
Actually. There's point by she did a point by point rebuttal to their response. Mm-hmm. That's included in the audit, and she just points out there's things where the city tries to make it look like it's normal. In finding number 3, where Mayor Combs did not pay back the $30,000 like he was supposed to, they try to make it sound like that's a normal thing, and it's. But
right.
I've talked to some contractors here in town, and that's only happened twice in the city history that they know of.
Oh,
one time was the bridge that's between Lowe's and Sam's,
yeah.
That little bridge road.
Yeah.
It happened in that situation. Whoever built that defaulted.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't really know who it is. It happened a long time ago.
That's interesting.
But that's the only other case other than the mayor's subdivision. And that was not only did is the former mayor mentioned in this report, but also he got reprimanded by the North Carolina Real Estate Commission a couple years ago, because basically he got this loan from the city. He was supposed to improve the roads at the subdivision, and it never happened. And that was 10 years ago. So over 10 years, the work never happened. The city did not renew the letter of credit, so basically they just lost out on that money. And there was a woman that bought a house there in this subdivision, and the roads are the most terrible roads I've ever seen. And they've got grass growing up through them, and everything. So the mayor got in trouble. David Combs got in trouble for that. And then in the second finding, where the city was issuing grants to people that didn't qualify for the grant, and the city tried to make it appear like it was splitting hairs, but it's really not. The OIC building got an $8,000 grant, and it falls outside of the downtown area.
Right.
So it wasn't supposed to get that. And then and then it's just like that the whole way through. And the city's press release, if that's what you want to call it, is very confusing. And I think it's confusing on purpose. I remember when I first started covering the city several years ago, when they were in the midst of the event center controversy, and they passed a resolution that was written by Councilman Wiggins, who he's a lawyer, of course, he's a judge now. Correct. But the resolution made absolutely no sense whatsoever, and it was clearly done because there was some sort of legal matter that they needed to clear up, but it didn't mean anything to anybody unless you knew it was something to do with titles and properties and all that. So I asked the judge, he was a council member back then, can you explain this to me, because I don't know what it means. And he said no. He said I don't have to explain that to you. So they're passing ordinances and resolutions that makes no sense to the public, and they have no they don't feel any need to explain it to the public either.
There is an arrogance that they don't have to be accountable to the public, and we'll talk about that. We got to go to weather. We got to talk about something brewing besides coffee.
This weather segment is brought to you by Fred's Food Club, the home of rock bottom prices. We accept cash, credit, debit, and EBT cards with new extended hours and 3 locations to serve you in Rocky Mount, Wilson, and Greenville. Also, our Bikers Forecast is brought to you by Black Cat Harley Davidson in Rocky Mount.
And good morning, everyone. We do have a tropical storm right over on the coast. This is Tropical Storm Arthur that formed Saturday and moving north-northeast, and we'll take a look at that in just a minute. But first of all, let's look at our current conditions. 65 degrees, the dew point at 64. Relative humidity 97%. Winds north-northeast at 14 miles per hour, and the barometer 29.87 inches. Well, going through this Monday, we will see showers breaking out. Some of these are breaking off Arthur and drifting over our area, and that will be moving on out later this afternoon as Arthur moves on off to the north and northeast. And that will take that out. But we have another system coming in, a strong upper level low that's going to bring some rain, and some of it could be on the heavy side as it comes through our area. Let's take a look at the radar, and we'll see that this is Arthur, and you can see the counterclockwise circulation here, and the center is just about right in here. Now, a tropical storm does not have an eye. That comes with the hurricane. You have to have winds about 75 miles an hour before you can start to see anything resembling an eye. And but it does have a center of rotation, which is right in here, just around Cape Lookout. And it's moving to the north-northeast, past near Hatteras and over Pamlico Sound, and then on off the coast. Now, a tropical storm warning is in effect from Surf City to Duck, and that will be up for most of the day today. Winds are around 50 miles an hour. They're gusting to around 60 to 65 out here over the water, and that will be moving on out later today. Well, let's take a look at our forecast now, and for today we'll see a cloudy sky, showers likely, high 74, northeast wind at 10, rain chance 70%. Tonight, cloudy, showers becoming likely again, with a low of 60, north wind 10, gusting 20. For Tuesday, cloudy, showers, a thunderstorm possible with a high of 67, winds east 10 to 20, rain chance 80%. For Tuesday night, cloudy, showers likely, a thunderstorm possible again with a low of 56, rain chance 70%. Wednesday, cloudy, showers likely, afternoon thunderstorms possible again with a high of 67. Mostly cloudy with showers likely on Wednesday night with a low of 61. Thursday, mostly cloudy, chance of showers, afternoon thunderstorms possible with a high of 74. And Thursday night, mostly cloudy, chance of showers and thunderstorms with a low of 63. And Friday, chance of showers, a high of 78, and the rain chance 40%, and it starts to clear out Friday, so we're looking at a fairly good weekend right now. Low of 63 Friday night. Our high yesterday 85, our low was 61. Looking at the biker forecast for today, cloudy, chance of showers and an afternoon thunderstorm possible. Temperature in the mid-60s to lower 70s, winds north 10 to 20, visibility 7 miles. The probability of precipitation 70%, and the concerns will be for wet roads and lightning, so not the greatest day to be out riding. We could have a lull during the afternoon, say from about 3 o'clock on into the night, and then it picks up again. 65 right now, and that's your weather right up to now.
And thank you, Fred, for that. It's going to be a very wet week, so get your raincoat and your rain umbrella out.
That's why I wore my flannel shirt.
You did.
You know who likes flannel?
Who?
Richard Burr.
Really?
Yeah, I wore this to support him.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm totally
I was
kidding.
going to say, speaking of Richard.
I'm totally
I know
kidding.
you
The guy's a crook.
Well,
Speaking of crooks.
I can't believe the latest. Oh my gosh, on Richard. Anyway, Senator Burr.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about finding 2. We talked about finding 3.
Yes.
So the one that everybody's talking about is finding 1.
Yes.
And that is that Councilman Knight didn't pay his utility bills for 20 years and had the city write it off. And in the report, and I'm quoting from the report that, of course, the city denies this, obviously, but it says that the city manager intervened under the direction of the council member, right?
Right.
So basically, what employees told Beth Wood is that Andre Knight didn't want to pay his bill, told the city manager, I don't want to pay the bill. City manager told the collections people not to bother him anymore.
Right.
And then eventually the bills were written off. So ever since we started that on Thursday,
Right.
and then the audit came out on Friday, over the weekend, there's been some people saying that, well, Andre Knight's name's not in the report. Therefore, it gives him some wiggle room that, maybe it's not
Right.
him, there's a chance to deny it. But there's 2 things about that. One is I have records from City Hall that I obtained in the manner that I do, and it clearly states that Andre Knight's property at 110 Braswell had a $30,000 write-off back in 2013, and
Is that an adult daycare or residence of his?
you tell me.
Yeah, right, okay.
Okay, so it's electricity, water, sewer, trash, gas, and area lighting. He didn't pay for any of that
None of that.
for years. And it's a beautiful house. I was over there the other day taking pictures. It's a beautiful house. So he didn't pay for any of this, and now that the state auditor has pretty much caught him with his hand in the cookie jar,
Right.
some folks want to say, well, his name's not in the report, so it's not him. But I mean, the report, if you do the math in the report and it says that he's still a councilman and that this occurred back when Steve Raper was manager,
Right.
and when Charles Penny was manager,
Right.
and now with Rochelle Small-Tony manager, it's occurred all along. It pretty much matches up to Andre Knight. So you've got the report,
Right.
you've got this piece of paper, but I wanted to go one step further because I don't want there to be any doubt
Right.
in who we're talking about. So I called Beth Wood yesterday, and we had a decent conversation. And
He can even get Beth Wood on Sunday. I'm impressed.
well, I think that speaks to the level of her agitation. at
Yeah,
the
I think
city.
it does too, absolutely.
I may have used star 67 also, so, But anyway, she says that the identity of the council member in the report is public record, and that the
Okay.
city should reveal that there's no reason that the city should not reveal that. And then she went one step further to say that if the city does not reveal that she will reveal that information.
Wow.
So there's no doubt now.
There's no doubt now.
So there's no doubt now who
Which council person it
council member it
is.
is. And I think that one thing that hasn't really been said in all of this stuff, we talked about $47,000 of unpaid utility bills, right? But where I think it should really hit home for some people is that there's people that I'm sure last Christmas they had to choose between paying the bills and getting their kid a bicycle. Right?
Absolutely.
And
And
if they-
a lot of them in his ward.
Absolutely, and if they don't pay the bill within 60 days, the power gets shut off. Well, I went back and looked, and I didn't have a lot of time, so there's more to be done on this for sure. Maybe a homework assignment for Bill West at the Telegram.
Yeah.
But in 2015, Councilman Knight voted to increase the water rates by 8%, right? He also voted to increase the sewer rates. And that's just one year. You go back
Very interesting.
all the way to 2003 and see how many times that he's voted to increase rates. Now he did he did through, because he sits on the electricity's board.
Correct.
Doesn't pay his electric bill, but he does sit on the electricity's board. And they
How
did.
can you, wait a minute, how can you sit, what?
Well, I mean.
Well, we know he's on the electricity's board,
Right.
yes, we talked about it, we know all about it. How
And-
can you sit on that board?
And he may have been unequally qualified in reducing electric rates because he doesn't pay his electric bill. Maybe he knows a thing or two about. Him and Angela Bryant and a lot of other people got that. Remember, they got that deal sold
Yes.
where Duke Power lowered everybody's rates. And
Absolutely.
I think it was 32 or 33 cities around North Carolina. So that was a great thing. But at the same time that the electric rates were coming down, the water rates and the sewer rates were going up, and he voted for that.
Right.
So to put a little bow on it for everybody to understand, if you live in Rocky Mount, I know I'm never staring at the camera, so I'm trying. If you live in Rocky Mount, Councilman Knight voted to raise your water rates, your sewer rates, and all the other rates over the last 17 years or so, while never having paid one single bill.
Well, he didn't mind raising them, because he knew he wouldn't have to
yeah,
pay
exactly.
it.
She don't have to pay it. So I think that should kind of hit home to people that in the long run, this really isn't about Councilman Knight. This is about the grandmas that had their electricity turned off. This is about the folks that had to make hard choices.
Absolutely.
And he just never had to.
No.
Because all he did was tell when he got a call from collections, and this is according to the audit report in black and white, when he would get a call from collections, he would tell the city manager, I don't want them calling me no more, and they wouldn't. And then eventually he would have it $47,000 written off. So I think it's pretty egregious, and I'm being as objective as possible.
Right,
I mean, I communicated with Councilman Knight last night. He's one of the few people that I stayed in contact with when I left the telegram.
Well, you are lucky that he will talk to you.
Yeah,
because most people tell me he will not return any calls.
Well, I mean, I've treated him fair over these many years. I think that I've presented his side of the story on many occasions, and I try to do that for everybody.
Right.
And I think that he's an interesting person. His private and his public persona are, sometimes, I guess we all are like that.
Right.
We're not the person that we are
Right.
in private that we are in public. But I like the guy. But,
Okay.
notwithstanding, he should have
Right.
paid his electric bill. And, I would write a story about my grandma if I thought that it was good, So I
Right.
think that it's time for some answers in that whole situation.
I think so too.
Absolutely.
We got to go to break, take our first break. We'll be right back with more of the story right after this.
Welcome to Davis Furniture Company in historical downtown Rocky Mount, where we treat our customers like family. We have 16,000 square feet of floor space for furniture and accessories to help make your house a home. For over 30 years, we've believed in offering quality furniture at the best prices with strong customer service. We also offer in-store financing, delivery, and something you won't find anywhere else. We truly love our customers. We pride ourselves in our relationship with you. Come by and see the Davis difference at Davis Furniture Company.
If you enjoy hand-picked strawberries, look no further than Bozeman Farms, with 3 locations this summer for your convenience. The first at Bozeman Farms on Highway 97 East, just off Cool Spring Road. A second on South Winston Avenue across from the fire station. And a third by the Shell gas station on Bienvenue Road. Fresh picked strawberries as well as Mama Jean's homemade strawberry jam. And don't forget our sweet potatoes, all available for purchase at each location. Call 252-883-6175 for any questions or directions. Bozeman Farms, from the field to your table at great prices.
Krispy Kreme's famous glaze is a whole lot brighter these days. Krispy Kreme's all-new fruit-inspired donuts featured a different fresh fruity glaze each week. This week is the final glaze. It's a fan favorite, lemon. Now through Friday, head to Krispy Kreme to try the all-new, perfectly tart lemon glaze. Get the lemon glazed original ring and the delicious lemon glazed original filled with lemon cream.
I don't want you to go, though. I don't want you to leave.
I can sit in the
Okay,
corner.
good morning. Welcome back. I was telling Lindel, don't leave. We like you here. And I was just saying, how do you stay on the, electricity's board? How do you, he's on city council, placing votes for people's rates to be, increased.
Voting for city council members on what I think is conflict of interest has never really been a problem for them, because Councilman Blackwell votes to give OIC money every year.
All the time.
And he explains that his pay, his pretty decent pay, according to the tax records, that's in a separate pot from the grant money. So it's not a conflict of interest for him to vote for money over here because, he's over here.
Yeah,
But that's kind of like, I work 2 jobs.
Right.
I work 2 full-time jobs because I have bills to pay.
Right.
Someone's don't do. So I'm making money over here, and my wife's making money over here, right?
Right.
But I've been married 25 years, and one thing I know is that my money is my wife's money,
Right,
for sure.
that's right.
So I still to this day don't understand. Jet Rose can explain it 1,000 times,
Right.
in city council meetings, but if you got 2 pots and you got money in one pot and you got money in the other pot, but you control both pots, then
Yeah.
that's a conflict of interest.
It is.
Funny about that conflict of interest, it came up last year or late in 2018, and it was totally squashed by the city council because what the new policy was, the new policy should be that the federal government is recommending is that they do a follow through of money given.
Right.
In other words, right now the city gives out thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to different organizations, which is great. But they never follow through with what that organization does with that money.
Right.
So they give money to a church or a nonprofit organization, and no one ever checks to see if that money's spent properly.
Right.
And it was, unless it's occurred since, in the last 6 months from my absence from covering the city, which I don't think it has.
Right.
That's something that probably should be revisited as well, because conflict of interest rules aren't just conflicts of interest, it's also apparent or perceived conflicts of interest.
Right.
And I perceive it as a conflict of interest. So then it kind of falls under that.
Right.
So.
Well, this audit, I was looking at the bottom of the audit. This audit cost us, folks. It's not free. It required 4,058 man hours.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And $421,000.
And I've seen some people say that the state wasted money to come up to spend $400,000 to find that the city wasted a couple $100,000.
A lot of people are saying to me,
But-
there's only 5 findings for this
Right.
amount of money.
Well, what they don't, what those folks aren't understanding is that that $400,000 isn't extra money.
Right.
That was in the state's budget already. That's basically just employee salaries that she's
Right.
talking about,
Right.
and expenditures driving down here and all that stuff. So, that money was going to be spent anyway. It's not separate money that's spent.
But the
Go ahead. I'm
But the
sorry.
comments, but the comments are, Lindel, too. She talked to tons of people from what we understood. Tons and tons and tons and tons. Well, it doesn't matter how many people she talked to. Did those people give her absolute concrete, could she find concrete evidence from everybody that talked to her?
Well,
Some is ethics.
Right,
Some is speculation.
Sure.
Some is, you got to weed it out.
Well, I mean, that's the ridiculousness of the city's press release to talk about that they only obtained the information about Councilman Knight's utility bills through a data dump. You know, and I saw an interview that Beth Wood gave to a TV station on Friday. I don't remember which one it was. But, you know, she said, look, this isn't a data dump, whatever that is. This was her forensic accountants sitting down in front of a computer in City Hall.
Yes.
Looking at the information on the screen, verifying that some of the same information that I have here, that what, you know, so, and then the funny thing is the city says, oh, well, we don't have no records of that, or, you know, we can't confirm that. You know, it's just like the paperwork on some of those grants they gave out. They said,
Right.
well, the auditors, okay, see how funny this is. The auditors had to supply the cities with some of its own paperwork to go over those grants because the paperwork's lost. I mean, you know, if I was doing something shady, I would lose some paperwork really quick.
Oh, yeah, sure you would.
You know, I mean, that's, I mean, I don't really think that was a good defense on the city's part to say,
No.
oh, well, we can't find that paperwork.
Exactly.
You know, I remember I wrote a story about Dr. Falcone. I won an investigative story of the year for that, by the way, last year.
Really?
Yeah,
Did you really?
Well, yeah, I mean, I knew I was going to win because the woman was living in Virginia and working in Rocky Mount. I mean, you know, I knew that was a good one.
I mean, we posted
But-
her picture on Facebook.
Yeah. So
of her car.
One of the first things she did when she got here was she threw away everything. And I've talked to 2 different city employees
my
who
God.
confirm that. So, I mean, that's why you can't find no records or nothing. She had it thrown all away. You know, and then one other thing, I said it earlier, but I want to make it clear to people that Steve Raper and Charles Penny were not the only city managers who have allowed Councilman Knight to get away with not paying his bills, because the audit report says that as of January, he's got $2,000 worth of
$2,900.
Right.
Still,
That's-
after the write-off,
that's-
it has started
Right.
again.
That's past 60 days overdue.
Yes.
So he shouldn't have
No.
electricity now.
Should not, it should be 0.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Now, I had somebody tell me, I don't know if this is true or not, but they said that maybe one reason that they haven't turned off his utilities is nobody really knows where he lives.
well, and I saw
that
that.
was a cheap shot, but come on.
But it's the truth. Good morning.
Good morning. Enjoy seeing you both on the air this morning. And
Thank
Lindel,
you.
thank you for your dogged work. And you know, you aren't the auditor, but you certainly helped bring sunshine to what's been going on, and you know, kind of get us to where we are today. So I guess I
At
want to
least
ask you
he
a
gets
follow-up.
closure. At least he gets
Yeah.
closure to his hard work,
That's
okay?
right. Absolutely.
Very good. Very good. So follow-up question. You know, this audit, you know, only 5 findings. You know, you hear some people saying only 5, but audits tend to have legs. And what is your? And I'm asking you to speculate. What is your speculation in terms of maybe some federal investigations or other investigations that may spin out?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me just say this, because I hate to speculate, but I can look back at something. And I covered East Point was a mental health management provider, and they were bilking the state for and the federal government for a bunch of money. They had a guy, the chief financial officer of that organization, bought himself a car and a boat, and he even cheated at fishing because he bought a fish finder. You know, so I mean, this guy was just a cheat. And Beth Wood did an audit on them, and a lot of people said the same thing. You know, oh, there's nothing in this audit. It's thin. It's, you know, it only has a few findings. But the FBI took up that because it was federal money involved, and I believe everybody got a little piece of that. The local people, the state people, everybody got involved in that. And that guy's in prison right now for about 20 years. You know, and he did exactly what the findings in this audit report is that he made sure that he got money. He made sure that people that were close to him got money, and they were misusing. And if you read the audit report really carefully, which I know you have, it says that this money could have been used to offset other things. That the money, like in finding 3 with the mayor's subdivision, that $30,000 could have been used to pay for something else, right?
Well,
So that's
that
very
goes exactly
key.
to the 116 Harbor Street, Blanche's today.
Right.
The 3 properties tied up in that deal, the $30,000 in loans that were forgiven, if it had been properly stewarded, that money would just recycle over and over. You would lend it and get it paid back, lend it and get it paid back, and it would just feed itself. And I've seen the minutes, the City Hall minutes, where Tasha Logan Ford submitted an agenda item, and then Ruben and Andre and the City Council voted to allow themselves to forgive themselves for their own grant.
Right, absolutely. So, to answer your question, I think that this is while it may be, like Sandra said, it may be some closure for me, it's just the beginning for the city. There will be, I know that a lot, certain city officials have been in close contact with state authorities and federal authorities over the weekend, as a matter of fact. So, I mean, there's, I don't want to, there's more coming to this, believe me. This is just the first shoe. There's another shoe coming.
Well, I'm going to leave you on this one. So, I think we all assumed, to some degree, those of us who have been frustrated with Rochelle Small-Tony, that there's a certain amount of arrogance, and people in public service tend to have some sort of superiority complex, and we've seen it before. But to see Rochelle's response to the audit about the rules don't apply to her, and she doesn't even know what the per diem limits are. You've been jockeying with her to get a response, working with the great firewall of her, PIO. What is your assessment of the fact that she is just that arrogant that she would argue with the state auditor that it doesn't apply to her?
Well, let me tell you 2 things that I know. One, I know that she complained that the auditors showed up without informing her first, that they showed up to look at their stuff. Like, why would
auditor
right.
is going to
why would an investigator
Why would an
investigator let them know that you're coming? And another thing that I didn't think about until just now, and this is kind of an anecdotal situation, so take it with a grain of salt. It don't really mean anything unless you want it to. But when Rochelle Small-Tony came to town, I was well aware of the hijinks down in Florida, Georgia, and Virginia, and everywhere else. But I mean, I believe in giving people a fair shake, right? So the story that I wrote about her coming to town was only included 1 or 2 sentences about that. I didn't try to throw her under the bus when she got here or whatever. But I remember we went and took her picture for that story, and we were on the 5th floor of City Hall, and the photographer, a really nice girl named Sarah, she was trying to find a good picture to take, and she asked Rochelle to stand over by the window so we could get the city of Rocky Mount in the background. And Rochelle turned around and looked at the city, and I think it was the back of Towel Town, which is really run down, didn't look really nice. And she's like, I don't want my picture taken with the city. Mm-hmm. And like I said, that's very anecdotal, but that was her first couple days on the job, so I don't think she's had any regard for the city at all, and certainly has never responded to anything I've ever asked, except with lies through the PR people. And I mean, that's a pretty stiff thing for me to say that they're lies, but I mean, they were. They had 6 different excuses why her office was remodeled. It was mold, it was mildew, it was storm damage, it was termites, it was, it was just, I call the contractor up and talk to him, and he gives me the straight truth after their complete lie had went out. And they never even tried to adjust that or admit to that or whatever.
So Lindel, I have one last question for you.
You said that was your last, but you're pulling a Columbo on me.
You'll appreciate this one. I'm going to hang up on this one.
All right.
What happens to the secret monies?
You tell me, man. You tell me. I had 6,000 emails to go through, and One thing about those emails that was great when I got those emails is that some of those emails were not included. But when Jep Rose, the city attorney, when he sent those emails, they sent those emails to him and then he sent them to me. He made sure and labeled those emails with a number so that I could tell that, I could get to like email number 116 and then the next email would be 130. So there were 15 emails that were missing, So even through public records requests as required by law, they still skipped out a lot of information. As a matter of fact, that email that was included in the auditor's report, I didn't get that email where she said that I'm not gonna, don't dare ask me about what I eat and all that stuff. I didn't get that email. So they're just not very interested in telling the truth. I hate to say it.
Well, do they not work for us? Are they not public officials? And everything they get paid, every meal she eats, every light that is turned on for the city council member for free. Who's paying for that? Because do governments generate money?
It's not Councilman Knight, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you keep dragging. I'm trying to be objective, but it's really hard to do. But then you're dragging me into answering questions that I mean, yeah, they're civil servants. I mean,
Yeah,
my wife's a librarian. She works for the county and through the state.
Right.
She's got to do what they tell her to do.
Exactly.
She's supposed to serve the public.
That's right.
And what we have here is people who serve themselves with public money.
We have said many times,
What
governments.
we have here is a failure to lead. We have
That's
selfish,
right.
conniving, corrupt. Using your word in the article yesterday, malfeasance. We have individuals who are stewards of the public. We don't have leaders. We don't have people we can trust, and it's a damn shame.
How do you really feel?
We're going to talk to our mayor at 8 o'clock about that.
All right.
So anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
So, good morning.
Okay, we're going to go to break, but remember, as we have said.
He's lost a lot of weight, hasn't he?
Oh, he has.
He
I'll
looks
tell
good. I
you.
told him last
Yeah.
night. I said, I seen his picture, and
That
I said,
was Clint, by the way.
Yeah. I said, you look really good. But then I remembered that the last guy that I said had lost weight and looked good, he was dying of cancer. So I was
my
like,
gosh.
I hope that that's not the case. But
No, he said
he's
trying
right.
to. Yeah, his doctor told him he was not eating good.
Right.
So I don't think he'll mind me saying that. But so he is eating totally.
he certainly is now.
Clint loves French fries. He liked all the good stuff, like everybody does. And so sometimes it'll catch up with you. So anyway, he's fine now, lost the weight. So that's what we need to do is take care of
I
our
need
bodies.
to.
So anyway, remember though, my thing is,
I've been trying to get you off kilter all morning. It's fun for me.
so yeah, I know it is. So anyway, remember governments have no money, zero. It's our money, folks. We're going to go to break.
At Badcock Home Furniture and More, Joe found the perfect mattress, and Jill found the perfect bedroom set, and lamps, and rug, and more to go with it.
Badcock.com brings the store to your door with thousands of items to choose from, with hometown values, outstanding service, and no credit refused. Shop online or in-store with Badcock Home Furniture and More, treating customers right for over 115 years.
When faced with special care needs for elderly or disabled loved ones, families want compassionate, comforting care. That's Tender Touch Home Care Services' goal, providing the level of care we would expect for our own. With over 10 years of home care excellence, Tender Touch provides an array of services that keeps your loved one at home. From personal care, light housekeeping, errands, and meal preparation, to our private duty care program, which combines all of our home care offerings in one package.
Tender Touch Home Care Services, where your needs are our concern.
take it to Sunday service, bring it to them. At M4 Media, we provide video streaming solutions with easy financing options. Visit m4enterprise.org or give us a call for your free consultation.
I'm Bill Bullock, president of Don Bullock Chevrolet in Rocky Mount. We've been part of Rocky Mount area for over 100 years. We've been here during the good times and the bad times, and now we're here to help you navigate these challenging times, whether that means a new vehicle, a quality pre-owned vehicle, or service work on the vehicle you own. Right now, we're encouraging our customers to shop from the comfort of their home. Browse our inventory online or give us a call. We'll bring the vehicle you're interested in to you. We can demonstrate the vehicle, appraise your trade-in, do all the paperwork from the comfort of your home or work. Right now, Chevrolet is doing their part by offering 0% financing for up to 84 months, along with no payments for 4 months on select new Chevrolets. For our service customers, we'll offer to pick up your vehicle, perform needed services, and deliver your vehicle back to your home or work. Don Bullock Chevrolet has been part of Rocky Mount for over 100 years, and we want to do our part to help you during these trying times.
Do it the better way every day at Don Bullock Chevrolet. Always online at bullockchevrolet.com.
Do it the better way, Don Bullock Chevrolet. Don Bullock Chevrolet.
This weather segment is brought to you by Fred's Food Club, the home of rock bottom prices. We accept cash, credit, debit, and EBT cards with new extended hours and 3 locations to serve you in Rocky Mount, Wilson, and Greenville. Also, our Bikers Forecast is brought to you by Black Cat Harley Davidson in Rocky Mount.
And we'll take another look at our weather this morning. The big news, of course, is Tropical Storm Arthur over on the coast, an early season storm. In fact, it's even more than early season, it's preseason. But the past 6 years, I think with the exception of 2014, we've had a May storm, and several of them have targeted the Outer Banks. So that's what we're looking at this morning. Let's take a look at the current conditions in our area right now. 65 degrees, dew point at 64. Relative humidity 97%, winds north at 10, and the barometer 29.88 inches, and it's starting to rise a little bit. Well, the storm on the coast is going to pretty much stay there. It's not going to move inland. It's going to move north and northeast and brush the Outer Banks and then move on back out into the Atlantic. We will see rain, some showers from it, but then we'll see a strong upper level low move into the area, and that is going to bring us more rain, and some of it could be heavy late today, tonight, and into tomorrow. And this whole week really does have a chance of showers and storms. Let's take a look at the current temperatures right now. We have 73 at Hatteras, 73 Pine Island, and 73 Bogue. Down at Wilmington and Southport, they're reporting 70 degrees. The warm air from Arthur is influencing this area right in here. The low temperatures completely across the state in the mountains, Jefferson at 59, Boone at 59, and they are the 2 low points. Well, let's talk about the forecast now for the week, and we said that it was going to be a rather wet week, and that is certainly true. The forecast for today, cloudy, showers will be likely, high 74, rain chance 70%. Tonight, showers becoming likely again after an afternoon lull, low of 60. The forecast for Tuesday, cloudy, showers and thunderstorms possible, high 67. Showers likely on Tuesday night. A thunderstorm also possible with a low of 56. Wednesday, cloudy, showers likely, an afternoon thunderstorm possible with a high of 67. Wednesday night, mostly cloudy, showers likely, a low of 61. And Thursday, mostly cloudy, chance of showers, an afternoon thunderstorm possible with a high of 74. Same thing for Thursday night, chance of showers and thunderstorms with a low of 63. Friday, chance of showers, high of 78, and Friday night partly cloudy, a low of 63. The average temperatures for this date, 80 for the high, 56 for the low, and that gives us an average of 68 degrees. Looking at the Rocky Mountain Almanac, 90 degrees was the high in 1991, 49 the low in 2009. And looking at the Biker Report, cloudy today, chance of showers and afternoon thunderstorms, highs working their way into the lower 70s. The winds will be north 10 to 20, gusty at times. Visibility 7 miles, the rain chance at 70%. Wet roads and lightning will be the concerns for the bikers today. 65 degrees, and that's another look at your local weather.
Okay, welcome back. Well, I was looking at Facebook, and I've been talking to Jerry Fisher a little bit because naturally Jerry's interested, as Lindel alluded to last week. Jerry was kind of one of the first ones to bring this out when it was $11,000, this utility bill. So Jerry's always been interested in the community, even though he's moved away to Greenville. His family lives here, and he said, I still am a part of Rocky Mount. So I was looking at his post. Now this is Jerry Fisher's words. I called Richard Joyner and asked him if a council member is proven to have been involved in corruption or unethical behaviors, will you support their removal? He refused to answer. I asked as a follow-up question, do you think it was inappropriate to allow Andre Knight to accumulate a $47,000 utility debt without having them cut off, and then having the debt written off? He refused to say it was inappropriate. Then he said the black leadership is being targeted. So I asked, should black leadership be held to the same standards of ethics as everyone else? He refused to answer that too. Call him and ask the same questions. Jerry is really encouraging you to call your council people. Okay, then he called Councilwoman Miller as well. He said, I also asked Chris Miller the same question regarding corruption, unethical behaviors, and she said, that is not a yes or no question, and she refused to answer the question further. Okay, so, folks, these people are afraid of being called racist.
Yeah, and
they are.
And I don't care if anybody calls me names, because I know what I am, and I know what I've done in my career. So
know what you are.
I get called racist all the time, but the situation is that what is happening here is that it's the black community that's being victimized by this. Right. And me and Amelia Harper did a bang up job with a couple stories a couple years ago that led to Chief Moore moving down the road.
Yes, you're right.
And in that situation, he was making the crime numbers look better while not actually doing anything about the crime. Now, who was the victim in that? The victim in that was the black community, because in that year when we wrote that story, I think for 2017, every one of the couple dozen, I don't know how many, it was 20 maybe, anyway, every single murder victim that year in Rocky Mount was a young black male. And every person arrested for a lot of those crimes, or a lot of those murders remain unsolved, but every suspect that was arrested was a young black male.
Right.
So Jim Moore didn't do anybody in Rocky Mount any favors by lying about those numbers.
That's exactly right.
Right? He didn't do anybody any favors, and he especially didn't do the black community any favors. So when somebody calls me racist because I write a story about a black leader, it's just nonsense. Call up David Combs and ask him if I ever give him a break. Right? I think I've made most of David's hair fall out. Right? I had a police chief several years ago tell me that I'm the reason that he had early gray hair. right? To me, it's about accountability in government. I don't care who it is. So when I was assigned to cover Nashville, I covered Nashville. When I was assigned to cover Rocky Mount, I covered Rocky Mount. And when you cover something properly, you look at the problems that's there, regardless of who it is.
Right.
So I don't know how anybody, and I mean anybody, can defend a city council member who has coerced, threatened, and intimidated city employees into overlooking the money that he owes and writing it off.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure. I saw one Facebook post over the weekend that called Beth Wood a racist, and
Crazy.
Of course, the person who said that is receiving a lot of those grants from the city.
Right.
But I mean, it's just here. Beth Woods she's getting what was it, 200 complaints or something like that.
Yes.
She gets 200 complaints, so she looks into it. She has her auditors, she has her investigators, she has her forensic accountants come to Rocky Mount, churn all through it, look through everything, and come up with these 5 findings.
Right.
And because those findings clearly show that some council members are working to benefit themselves, somehow she's a racist. That should offend everybody, and the fix is already in on that, because in the mayor's press release that he sent out, I think on Friday, he said that some of the council members have said that they feel like the black leadership's getting targeted. Richard Joyner, apparently says that. It's sad, and the saddest thing about it is, and I'll tell you this right now, because I don't live in Rocky Mount. I never lived in Rocky Mount. I live in Spring Hope, but I'm not part of this crowd. Now I can tell you this: I admire to the hilt Reverend Walker. Right? To me, he's a sacred cow of the Rocky Mount area.
Right.
He's done so much for Rocky Mount, and he saved my life, because I had prostate problems, but wouldn't face it. Yeah, I wouldn't face it. I wouldn't go to the doctor. I was scared to go to the doctor.
I know what he went through. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me the book. I covered something. I don't remember. I covered the 4th of July or something. He was there, and he had a book at the tent, and he said, "Here, take this book." And I read a little bit of it, and so I started communicating with him back and forth, and he convinced me to go to the doctor.
Wow.
So, and my prostate was like the size of a grapefruit. So, I mean, I owe Reverend Walker my life, I feel like, right?
Right.
But
and I know he's very passionate about that.
He broke my heart last year. He broke my heart last year when I was asking him about the stuff at City Hall. And he told me that he made he gave me a statement. I wrote the stuff. I mean, I'm not telling nothing that ain't already been proved.
Right.
He told me that it was time for certain people at City Hall to go. Right?
Right.
But then when we got to that meeting, you remember the big meeting where everybody showed up to defend?
Oh, yes.
What he told me changed from that morning to the pressure of the community, as spurred on, I'm sure, by certain members of the government, to that it was all just a matter of racism. And I mean, that really broke my heart, because I know the quality of Reverend Walker, and I respect him tremendously. But what can't happen this time, what Rocky Mount can't let happen this time, is the idea that, this is racist.
Absolutely.
And you know what? There are some racists out there that hate Andre just because he's black.
Oh, yeah.
I have to listen to them all the time. I get the pat on the back when they say, I love those stories you write. They don't like the stories because they're well written and because the nuts and bolts are there, and everything. They like it because they perceive it as an attack on Andre.
Right.
And I don't like racists, and I can't stand racism, and I especially hate the slow crawl of institutional racism, which is a big problem, and it's a problem in Rocky Mount.
It is.
But at some point, you got to stop hiding behind that and be equal, right? And I didn't mean to get on a soapbox.
No, that's what we had
but
started
I was a
talking
preacher a
about,
long
so-
time ago, but that was, many moons ago. But I mean, it Councilman Knight gave that famous "Don't Blame Me" speech, and I watch that about every couple of weeks. I watch that on YouTube, and I love it. I love it.
You can't hide from that.
But it is time. It is time to blame him, though, right? His whole "Don't Blame Me" speech. It is time.
It's time. I think this is time.
The people in the community that most needed a break on their utility bills had their utilities cut off. I've seen people on Facebook who said, "Hey, my mom got her utilities cut off. Hey, this happened to me. This happened to me." Those people had their utilities raised. Their utility rates for water and sewer and all
That's
that
right.
were raised by a councilman who didn't pay his bill.
That's exactly right.
I would be hopping mad. Now, it doesn't affect me
would
because
be too.
I live in Spring Hook, right?
Right.
But I'm saying if I was a resident of Rocky Mount, I would be hopping mad. And I care about Rocky Mount because I'm here. But I'm just saying that I don't get it. I mean, I would be hopping mad at Andre.
Well, I think there is some outrage. I think people are just not letting you see it right now, but there is outrage. I can only imagine.
Well, see what happened last year when I wrote them stories in the Telegram. The Andre and Councilman Blackwell and their supporters, they rallied the troops and showed up at those meetings with a whole bunch of people.
Oh yeah.
And and I think those people got used.
Absolutely.
Because it's not about black leadership. It's about their leadership. It's about Andre's leadership.
Right.
It's about Councilman Blackwell, who's another cool guy. I mean, I don't know him as well as I know Andre. I don't, but I mean, he's on a personal level, he's a great guy. He does a lot. I think he does do a lot for the community. But at the same time, I mean, he makes a good living at the OIC, and he votes constantly to give money to the OIC.
Yeah.
As a city councilman, and he's lied to me in public before about certain things. So I don't know. I'm not advocating one way or another. That's not my job. I don't say do this or that. I'm just saying that it's time to stop looking at race.
Right.
In this situation. And that's not to say that I'm not trying to downplay racism or say that it doesn't exist or whatever. I'm just saying that it's time for people in Rocky Mount to want better than a councilman that doesn't pay his bills. I mean, that's pretty much it. I think I've about talked out. Okay.
No, you're good. Okay. We'll be right back with you right after this.
Welcome to Davis Furniture Company in historical downtown Rocky Mount, where we treat our customers like family. We have 16,000 square feet of floor space for furniture and accessories to help make your house a home. For over 30 years, we've believed in offering quality furniture at the best prices with strong customer service. We also offer in-store financing, delivery, and something you won't find anywhere else. We truly love our customers. We pride ourselves in our relationship with you. Come by and see the Davis difference at Davis Furniture Company.
I'm Daniel Moss, owner of Cornerstone Funeral Home, and I'd like to invite you and your family to give our family an opportunity to serve you in your time of need. And we offer a full line of funeral services, everything from visitations to graveside services to cremations on site with a live crematory, as well as a banquet hall to meet the catering needs of our families that we serve. We offer catering service. We offer refreshments prior to visitations and services of our family. And we want to invite you to come and experience the difference here at Cornerstone Funeral Home.
The Strawberry Patch is family owned by the Tim Fisher family, and they invite you and your family to come and pick some of the largest strawberries you've ever seen. It's a fun place with fresh picked strawberries, fresh and ready to go, or if you want to save some money, you can pick them yourself. It's fun and good exercise. Load up the kids. They can be farmers for the day. You can always call 442-6235 for more information.
And so come on out to the Fisher Farm, the Strawberry Patch, and you will be glad you did.
And welcome back, and we have Mayor Sandy Roberson with us this morning. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So glad to have you here. New mayor comes in. Got some surprises, didn't you?
Let's see. We first at bat, I think we ended up with COVID-19. Then we run right on into a state audit. So
You've been busy.
If you're ever interested in being in the news, I mean, apparently Rocky Mount's the place to be.
Absolutely. We'll jump right into it. You know, this audit, the city's version of the audit was put out last Thursday. And Sandy, I understand you didn't know anything about this. So tell us how you felt about that.
Well, I certainly didn't know. I mean, I was part of some of the private sessions where some discussions about a response were part of. Certainly the final press release and when to release it certainly had no knowledge of. And I got to tell you, I was very surprised when I'm getting texts from folks, and actually I'm getting texts of the Wilson Times story saying, did you know anything about this? And of course had no idea. So it's just a little surprising. It makes it difficult to fit into the narrative that I think I would like for the city of Rocky Mount to be able to have.
Absolutely.
And so that's really sort of the challenge associated with that. Now, the findings I certainly had been aware of. I had received that information probably a month or two ago. We had some internal discussions about how people felt about it, which led ultimately to the release. But I think, frankly, the early release of this information was a huge mistake. In so many ways.
Oh, no doubt.
So many ways. Right.
Well, Beth, you know, the auditor, Beth Wood, said that. She said the city was not authorized to put this out.
We were not. It was considered confidential information at the time.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens as a repercussion of that, although that's probably insignificant in the totality of things.
She said that it's never been done before.
I know, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
In the 200 some years North Carolina's been a state, and the 100 some years we've had an auditor.
Wow. I want to ask you, you know, I felt like in reading, I felt like the finance director had been thrown under the bus and backed up over. I mean, I really did. Where does the buck stop? With the finance director, Sandy, or with the city manager?
Well, clearly the city manager has the authority for the totality of the operations within the city. But where's the buck stop? Buck stops with the city council. At the end of the day, they're the ones making the hiring and firing decisions as it relates to the city manager. At the end of the day, they're the ones making policy in terms of where internal auditors answer to. You know, prior to my swearing in, the internal audit process answered to the mayor. And then immediately before I was sworn into office, that changed.
Well, you stole my question, man.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, you know, I'm just trying to get out of their head of it.
Absolutely. You know, I noticed that you have your own. I guess she's being called a senior advisor, but she's also doing work in public relations for you as well.
That's correct.
And it's funny to me because the city has an entire department for that, but like you said, this information was released without apparently you knowing about it. So,
right.
Is it? I'm really searching for a question here rather than a statement. But you felt the need to have someone so you can communicate with the public. I mean, why did you feel the need? I mean, was the city's PR people not getting the job done for you?
No. And let me tell you, Dorothy Brown Smith is awesome. She is fantastic at what she does. So no, that is not a reflection on her or the communication staff within the city. What I can tell you is this, that during my campaign, I began to realize that I had to be my own advocate. That I didn't have as many friends as I would like to have had, and I needed to be able to control my narrative. But it's really more than the communication piece. It's evolved into a communication piece. It really started with, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of what does it take to run the city of Rocky Mount? What do we need to be doing to try to push forward?
Right.
Help me do the research, help me look at what precedents have been set out there. Who do I need to talk to at the state level? And because I'd committed to the residents of Rocky Mount that I was going to be a full-time mayor.
Right.
And so it turns out that I have to make a living too. You know, I got to eat and
Pay your bills.
I got to pay my bills. And so I felt compelled to hire somebody to help me with that, in that role.
Right.
And I got to tell you what, it's been a fantastic hire.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Carrie has
she's
done a great
great
job,
with it,
and she understands it. She's worked in this capacity before in some towns out west. She's been with the North Carolina Department of Culture, and worked in various other capacities. So
Yeah, I like her a lot.
So her ability to be able to connect with folks at that state level are very important to somebody who's in municipal government.
And your steps that the city should take to fix things.
Sure.
Your first step was televise the meetings, and that's something that I've been after for years. And I don't understand that the city owns its own TV station.
Right.
How do they own their own TV station, but yet the one thing that is most important to the people, which would be the meetings, is not televised already for the last several years?
I don't have the answer for you, but it is amazing that the low-tech Facebook Live is sufficing good enough to at least broadcast it out there. And of course, that had been being done before. It is in the current capital budget proposed, and I believe that it will pass. I believe that we will have it. City manager had indicated that she felt like there were some infrastructure needs, physical infrastructure needs, to actually televise it out of chambers and to broadcast it. I have not heard from the vendor or from the experts who designed that, so I can't speak to it. But I know that that's going to be on our agenda over the next couple of weeks.
I mean, that's a priority.
It's an absolute priority. I mean, we've got to have that. I mean, there's nothing that creates a transparency other than showing folks how the sausage is made.
Right.
And I believe in that. So, I have spent a goodly part of the time after this release on Friday, in between a lot of calls for interviews, as you would imagine, talking to the SBI, talking with Josh Stein, the Attorney General, talking with Robert Evans, our district attorney. I've got a meeting, as you know, with Beth Wood today. Yes. So what I believe is that we need to get this behind us as fast as we possibly can. And what I mean by that, let's figure out what are the options. Let's lay those out, and then let's deal with the matter one way or another. And so I've called even for a special meeting on this Thursday to be able to address this issue, and we'll know more about that, as the day goes on. So I feel like I'm in sort of a fluid environment here, so it's hard to pin down specific points in time.
Well, you've got you've got a press conference today via Zoom at noon.
I do,
so
absolutely.
Look forward to that. I want to ask you, Sandy, how do you, Mayor,
It's okay. I've been Sandy a lot longer than Mayor.
The mayor's one of these people, and I said that to the sheriff and several other people because, I have absolutely I adore you. You've done a wonderful job. And so if I call you Sandy, I'm sorry, but it's because I feel close to the mayor enough to do that, and I think it's great that you relate to the people that way.
Sure,
you
absolutely.
Do. They call you Sandy because they relate to you. You've been out in the public. But anyway, how do we separate management from politicians? How do we do that going forward?
Well, I think it's a very simple answer, quite frankly. I mean, for me, I've been engaged in business all my life, entrepreneurial. In fact, I run an investment company now. And what I look for in a management team is somebody who can actually get the job done and get it done effectively. And so how you do that is you set measures up. We call them typically KPIs, key performance indicators. And it's a barometer of about 10 things that you are measuring that you believe will move the needle one way or the other, depending on what direction you're trying to set the ship. And so I think it's as simple as creating the accountability, which just happens through KPIs, and allowing your manager or your management team the ability to run and manage the organization and to fail. That's part of the process, but you give them license to do the job after you've set the course and what your direct goals are. You publish those, and you let everyone else be the judge. Now, the politics of that really are more in the lines of who are we electing to council? Who are we electing for mayor? What's their perceived direction? They're going to set the direction in terms of defining what true north ultimately looks like. And so that's where the distinction should be, in my estimation. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's that complicated. Now, we tend to overcomplicate it, or try to. But again, if you want effective management, set what the goals are, measure it, and give full license to the management team to be able to make it happen.
How can we gain the public trust again, though? How do we know that one council person is not going to do this again? How do we how do we know that all council people are going to be treated the same?
And let me jump in before you answer, please. That was one of the things that the auditor indicated in her report. She felt like the city's answers didn't answer that. And one of her concerns was not for this not to happen again with preferential treatment and all that. So, I mean,
Exactly.
I mean, I just wanted to throw that onto her question, but I mean, how do you
do that?
When it's so ingrained in City Hall for 20 years now?
Right. So I'm asking for control of the Internal Audit Committee again. I'm asking for some oversight controls as it relates to some matters to provide that third party or somebody who's elected by everybody in the City of Rocky Mount. I am the only at-large seat in the City of Rocky Mount.
Right.
So I think it's appropriate, I think it is precedented, and I think it also provides that level of protection for the consumer, which in this case are the residents of the City of Rocky Mount. And so outside of that, we really are expecting for folks to have character, to understand what honor is, to understand what loyalty is, to understand what the direction is of their job. And to the extent that we can't find that or we don't believe that we found that, it's ultimately the job of the polls. We've ultimately got to go and elect folks that we believe are in charge, and we have to have the press, and we have to have internal oversight and checks and balances to be able to flip up flags so that folks understand who it is they're voting for. And I believe that's the ultimate answer. And I believe that's how the founding fathers established the Republic of the United States, and to some degree the state of North Carolina followed that same model. We have not as a city, because it's really just a legislative body with a city manager, with a mayor. But I have some influence, some controls, but very few levers to work with.
Right. And I think that audit would be important. At the retreat last year, they spent a lot of time talking about how the audit should fall under the mayor. I guess it's somewhere in the works it got lost in what they were talking about doing and what ended up with. But it doesn't, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have the city manager control the internal auditor when, that's pretty much like the Fox Garden in-house. And that's no reflection on Rochelle at all. I'm just saying any city manager.
Well, that's the point. So you asked me who's in charge. Well, it's ultimately city council who makes a decision as to who is employed, right? So now, if you have not set directives, if you've not set goals, you have nothing to measure it by. So how do you know if somebody's doing good or bad?
Right. Okay. My big question.
Sure.
And I'm not putting you on the spot to answer right away.
Whenever somebody says that to you, Sandra, you're getting ready to be put on the spot.
No, I'm really not. Because I'm going to ask if something's not going to happen. I'm not going to ask for the same thing. I know you know that Beth Wood said that the identity of the council member named in her audit, and her audit was not meant to obfuscate who that was, because the audit, her audit is just not interested in specific people, it's interested in the process.
That's right.
That's why there's really no names in that audit.
That's right.
But you can tell from the audit who certain people are, based on their tenure and their dates and all that. But one was just not exactly clear, is that the council member who received these write-offs. And she said that it's up to the city to release that information, but if they wouldn't, that she was going to do it.
Okay.
So that's what I'm not asking you to reveal that. I'm asking you, is the city going to do that?
I have no idea what the city is going to do. I will tell you this, that in our response to the auditor, nobody claimed responsibility for the $47,000 utility bill in Chambers during that period of time. So that's all I can tell you on that.
Okay, fair enough.
And it wasn't me.
Right. Well, I think you could look at the dates and the numbers, and you can wiggle it down to a few people.
And look, so in preparation for this, I went back and looked at a number of audits that had been released. Manio had an audit that had been released fairly quick soon. I think Princeville had one that had been released within the last month or so. And so I was really going back to look and understand what the format looked like. Well, they don't name anybody in theirs either.
Yeah, that's just not the.
But in the response of each one of those communities, they say, okay, like in the case of Manio, mayor, I can't remember his name,
Right.
Smith, blah, 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 in the response. So they acknowledged it in those cases, and in most cases that was done that way.
And-
so we did choose to do it a different way.
Right, and that has been, I covered the city for, I guess, two and a half years probably, and that was always the problem, was that the public relations department, regardless of who was there,
Right.
it seemed like it was more geared toward protecting the council than just telling the truth. And I know that public relations, in public relations, you want to present your client in the best possible light. I mean, that's what
correct.
public relations is about, and I have no problem with that. But you also supposed to tell the truth along the way too.
Right.
And I mean, I had some emails I didn't get a chance to get into, maybe some other time, but there's just been incident after incident after incident where the public relations of the city are more concerned with damage control and more concerned with image than with telling the truth, which I think the residents deserve. Maybe that's something that can change with televised meetings, and the steps that you've taken. You've certainly been proactive in that stuff.
Well, here again, I believe that the best way to effectively communicate to the general public and to gain trust is to communicate exactly what it is you're trying to achieve. I found a long time ago that when you tell people where you're trying to go, how long it's going to take, a lot of people will pitch in and help you get to that goal. And so to not include them in the messaging, to not include them in the goal setting is a huge mistake if you're trying to move the needle in one direction or the other. Now, I will say that, I consider myself to be perhaps maybe one of the least popular, at least among the city council mayors that we've had in my lifetime, which would be exactly 2 other mayors. But I've had difficulty extracting information even from our city, things that you would expect that would be easy for me to obtain, like crime statistics, for instance. I've been asking for that for 6 months.
Right.
I've yet to get them. I don't know what the holdup is or why it's so difficult or challenging, because I see these reports coming from other departments and other agencies, and all I'm wanting to know is where does crime overlay with fire statistics, overlay with EMS statistics? I believe there's a case for mental illness and health funding to maybe make a difference. And I also believe it's an indication of where you put your resources to make a difference. And so without those things, and then not to mention that in every survey I've done, the highest being 52%, the lowest being 41% of voters have said that crime was their number one issue. They did not feel safe in the city of Rocky Mount. And so you've got to address those things. Well, not feeling safe also is a byproduct of not having confidence in your government too.
Absolutely.
And not having transparency, not feeling like people are believing you or listening or hearing you. And we've got to talk about these things rather than talk about, we've just got to move forward to get to that level, right? We've just got to. There's so many other issues that I would love to talk to you about.
Let me get this out, Sandra. When I said Sandra, not Sandy. I call you Mayor.
That's all
I call
right.
her Sandra.
Fair enough.
When I began to ask a lot of questions about certain council members a few years ago, that's when, although it had been there a little bit, that's when the Public Relations Department began to be the defense attorney of the council.
Right.
And I got an email here from 2018, December 2018.
Okay.
And the 911 system across the country went down.
Okay.
Right?
Don't have any of that, but wow.
Right, pretty important.
That's a big deal.
So basically, you couldn't call 911
And get a response.
So the federal government notified the city of Rocky Mount along with everybody else.
Right.
And said, you need to put out one of those reverse calls. Let people know that 911's not working. So that they'll know what number to call.
Sure.
Because if you've got a heart condition, you got you don't want to waste time calling 911 and it's busy and you don't know what's going on. Right. So it's a matter of life or death. I think.
No, seconds matter.
Well, instead of sending that information out to the people, the Public Relations Department sent the information to the council.
Okay.
Because the council had said that no information was to go out without their approval first.
Right.
So that's the kind of thing that I've been trying to talk about the way that public relations works with the city.
Sure.
What could the council possibly contribute to, hey, 911 doesn't work, call this number instead.
Right.
But I mean, that's just an example that it's like, it's mind-blowing how, another one was when there was an eclipse. And I know this is before your time,
Right,
so
sure.
it's, but I'm saying when there was the eclipse a couple of years ago.
Right.
We asked a person that worked at the museum about
Right.
it. They couldn't talk to us.
Right.
We
About
had
the eclipse.
Yeah, about the eclipse. I mean, so now the city council controls the heavens. I mean, how, I really think, and you're making steps in the right direction with having your own person that can get your message out.
Right.
But I think that somewhere the city needs to get away from trying to control everything, and just, for instance, there was a murder over the weekend.
Two shootings,
You're right.
yeah.
Well, the information came via the city press department.
That's right.
Instead of the police. I mean, just a few years ago, the police would send out their own information.
Right.
Why is there that extra step? Why is the police chief, who's a great guy?
Right.
I mean, I really like the police. I think he's the right choice for the job. Why does he have to send information about a murder or public safety to the city marketing department before it's sent out to the public? It's mind-blowing.
I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, good, because it wasn't really a question.
Yeah, good. I don't have an answer for that, but yes, in some cases that's been the case.
That's all I'm saying.
And there's certainly process improvement opportunities in every system, and this clearly is one of them. But I mean, if it makes you feel better, I too have had a very difficult time extracting information.
It does not make me feel better at all, Mayor.
Well, me either, and we need to begin to talk about that. Because it just simply shouldn't be. I mean, if you've got somebody who's wanting to help, trying to move direction, then we need to be able to move forward on that, right? We need to be talking about things like, how do we annex commercial corridors into the future? How do we build an infrastructure that will allow population growth? And what is it that we're trying to attract, logistics business or technology businesses or whatever? Those are the things that we really need to be spending time focusing on and building a plan. Now, we didn't have our retreat this year, so that has been a little bit of a hindrance to at least set a tone for a planning component. But yeah, to your point, that's not headed in the right direction. We need to be pressing forward. We need to be trying to move forward beyond all of these things.
Okay, we've got to go to break. We're going to ask the mayor if he would just stay with us just a few more minutes, if you don't mind, and we'll be right back.
I'm Bill Bullock, president of Don Bullock Chevrolet in Rocky Mount. We've been part of the Rocky Mount area for over 100 years. We've been here during the good times and the bad times, and now we're here to help you navigate these challenging times, whether that means a new vehicle, a quality pre-owned vehicle, or service work on the vehicle you own. Right now, we're encouraging our customers to shop from the comfort of their home. Browse our inventory online or give us a call. We'll bring the vehicle you're interested in to you. We can demonstrate the vehicle, appraise your trade-in, do all the paperwork from the comfort of your home or work. Right now, Chevrolet is doing their part by offering 0% financing for up to 84 months, along with no payments for 4 months on select new Chevrolets. For our service customers, we'll offer to pick up your vehicle, perform needed services, and deliver your vehicle back to your home or work. Don Bullock Chevrolet has been part of Rocky Mount for over 100 years, and we want to do our part to help you during these trying times.
Do it the better way every day at Don Bullock Chevrolet. Always online at bullockchevrolet.com.
Do it the better way, Don Bullock Chevrolet. Don Bullock Chevrolet.
If you enjoy hand-picked strawberries, look no further than Bozeman Farms, with 3 locations this summer for your convenience. The first at Bozeman Farms on Highway 97 East, just off Cool Spring Road. A second on South Winston Avenue across from the fire station, and a third by the Shell gas station on Bienvenue Road. Fresh picked strawberries as well as Mama Jean's homemade strawberry jam. And don't forget our sweet potatoes, all available for purchase at each location.
Call 252-883-6175 for any questions or directions. Bozeman Farms, from the field to your table at great prices.
I'm Daniel Moss, owner of Cornerstone Funeral Home, and I'd like to invite you and your family to give our family an opportunity to serve you in your time of need. And we offer a full line of funeral services, everything from visitations to graveside services to cremations on site with a live crematory, as well as a banquet hall to meet the catering needs of our families that we serve. We offer catering service. We offer refreshments prior to visitations and services of our family. And we want to invite you to come and experience the difference here at Cornerstone Funeral Home.
When faced with special care needs for elderly or disabled loved ones, families want compassionate, comforting care. That's Tender Touch Home Care Services' goal, providing the level of care we would expect for our own. With over 10 years of home care excellence, Tender Touch provides an array of services that keeps your loved one at home. From personal care, light housekeeping, errands, and meal preparation, to our private duty care program, which combines all of our home care offerings in one package.
Tender Touch Home Care Services, where your needs are our concern.
Welcome to Davis Furniture Company in historical downtown Rocky Mount, where we treat our customers like family. We have 16,000 square feet of floor space for furniture and accessories to help make your house a home. For over 30 years, we've believed in offering quality furniture at the best prices with strong customer service. We also offer in-store financing, delivery, and something you won't find anywhere else. We truly love our customers. We pride ourselves in our relationship with you. Come by and see the Davis difference at Davis Furniture Company.
Okay, welcome back. In case you just tuned in, you missed a lot. We've got the mayor this morning, Mayor Sandy Roberson, with us, and I want to say that whenever we ask Sandy to come, he has been on the mayor to come. He's been on John Check several times, John Check's show, so he never say no.
You got to put it in a play for my show too now on Thursday nights.
You know, I've heard more about that show. People cannot believe. Oh, I love the fact that he has his own TV show. He comes on and I said, well, sure. They like the fact that you are, that you're willing to do this and talk to the citizens.
Sure.
You're talking to the citizens.
Well, and Ruben Blackwell and I are actually going to be on the show this week, just so you know.
great.
And we're going to be talking about the audit. We had a little conversation, in anticipation of this being released, and so I think it's on point and on topic.
Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, the mayor's brief. And that's not the only time. Because of popularity, we are playing the heck out of it. Every time I turn around, my scheduler is playing the mayor's brief. I said, now, he can't become more popular than my show in the morning. So anyway.
I don't think there's any doubt of that.
No, we do
concern.
Appreciate your openness and your willing
shirt.
to.
I've never seen that material for a suit like that.
Thank you. Yeah. Look long and hard.
That shirt probably cost more than my entire wardrobe.
Wow.
I want to know
You had
something.
to go there, didn't you?
Yeah, I know. This shirt, you know how I picked out this shirt to wear? The Keith
Here goes
Richards,
again.
the Keith Richards method. You know what Keith Richards?
I do
You
not.
used to date Keith Richards, didn't you? Sam? The Keith Richards method is whatever you find when you on the floor when you wake up in the morning. That's what you wear.
Lindel, you're a mess. You're too much. Mayor, I know that you said that you were going to see Beth Wood today.
Sure.
What are you going to talk to her about?
Well, there are really three things that I'm asking clarification on. The first one is in the first page, the first section. She references that she has perhaps turned over some items to other agencies for a further look.
Yes.
I'm asking if she'll confirm that for me, if she will tell me who that is, because it's important that we all have information, and it's important that council have this information. So acting as an agent so that everybody has all the information that we can deal with to make the best decisions, then that's what I'm trying to do. So I want to confirm if that's just a generic statement that she puts in every audit, although I haven't seen evidence of that, or if this is specific and if she'll share that with me. The other thing, because it has become a very sensitive matter in our community that people haven't been specifically named, although it's a guessing game, right? Should we, if she would give me the key. In other words, this person is this person. Let's just make it clear if she will do that or not do that, because it's these are particularly treacherous and difficult times, and so we need to be very careful about what we say and how we say it. And then finally, I would just like to hear from her, how the audit went, how it was received, her general challenges, what she believes that off the record that she might be willing to share that would benefit us as a community. And of course, some of these items in this conversation, I feel like we probably have to keep some confidence to. Sure. But to have that information, to be able to talk with decision makers within our community, I think is critical to being able to move forward in positive ways. And so that's really what I would like to know. Now, if she grants me more than 30 minutes, I've got a whole list of other questions I can come up with. But I'm thinking I'll be very fortunate and very lucky to be able to get 30 minutes.
She's the busiest woman in North Carolina.
She's got to be. Yeah.
You'd be lucky. You'll be good to get 30 minutes out of
Well, I do think it's an indication of her current mood that she's even going to see me on this. So
well, she answered my phone number yesterday, so that that'll tell you her current mood, I think.
Well, and I'm grateful, and that needs to be discussed too, right? I mean, we need to find good graces where we can.
Does the city council members sign an ethics agreement?
I was not asked to sign one. I was asked, is a requirement when you are first elected to go to the UNC School of Government and take an ethics course. But that's the only requirement. To my knowledge, it only happens upon your first election.
Well, my question is why?
Well, that's a great question.
Isn't that one of the elements that you like to do moving forward? If I'm not mistaken.
See, y'all are trying to take all the thunder out of my press release today, but yes, of course, an ethics statement is part of that, and I believe that that's absolutely important. I mean, we should be able to go a step beyond, right? So let's just talk about this. I mean, why don't you just pay it back? I mean, just because we've written it off,
well, that's
just pay it back.
That was my next question too.
Well,
what do we do about it?
I'm not.
Pay it back. Show some contrition.
That's what I'm looking. That's what I'm looking for, Mayor. I don't know that I necessarily want it to be. I mean, that I care if it's paid back because it was written off. But to me, it's the how and the why of it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because there's a lot of people that have their bills written off. Right. I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, there's a couple credit card people that are looking for me. But I'm just saying that it happens.
Sure.
But this was a councilman that we're talking about, and the audit makes clear that the main thing that Beth Wood is looking for is that assurances that it doesn't happen again.
That's right.
And that's what So
that's right.
So there's a lot of people on Facebook and social media saying pay it back.
Well, I say
I just
totally.
I don't want it to happen again. That's the thing I'm looking at.
Of course, and nobody does, right? And so we need to have those checks and balances. We need to have a real, what I call internal audit process, or what, I've been in healthcare, a compliance officer that really is looking at those things and flaring it up. And in most of my worlds, that compliance officer is absolutely an independent department from the city and typically answers to the board of directors, not to the CEO. In this case, council is board of directors, and maybe it should answer to the mayor in conjunction with a dotted line to council.
So you think all that experience? Go ahead.
No, but I have to ask this while we're talking about this. But it is happening again.
Sure.
It is.
It's happening right now.
It was written off.
As of January.
There's still $2,900 owed again.
Okay, I have not seen that. But,
already.
It's in there. In 60 days past due, $2,900.
And is that under the current city manager?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have 1, 2, 3 city managers involved in this now.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, again, I think paying it off matters symbolically.
Yes.
Even though it's been written off, unless there was a Chapter 11 and you can demonstrate that, or
it might be
Chapter 13.
Well, it might be statutorily, it might be too late to require to be paid back.
It is too late to require that it be paid back, but I think that as a message, what we're talking about here, guys, is restoring faith in government. We're not talking about.
You used my favorite word of the day when you said contrition. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some come to Jesus. That hey, look, I did this. I'm sorry about it. I had many years ago. People. Well, my wife's going to kill me on this one. Many years ago, I moved into a place.
Right.
And the guy was lenient with us on the rent, and I came to him and I had the rent. He said, well, I thought you had car trouble. And I said, he did. He said, well, pay the car, don't worry about the rent.
Right.
So the next month I came back to him and he was nice again.
Right.
So we got 6 months in.
Right.
And we hadn't paid this rent. I mean, this is when I'm young and I'm poor.
Yeah, sure.
And I got electric bills and water bill to pay for. So I haven't paid the rent. And it just got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So in this situation, in human nature,
right.
If you can't pay your bill that month and you say, hey, Charles, I can't, and then it happens once,
right?
Then it's easy to happen twice.
Sure.
It's easy to happen a third time. So I'm not really all that upset that the thing that bothers me is that it happened for 20 years. You know, and that's not just like a one-time thing or a two-time thing. That's 20 years.
Right.
Since 1999 to now, no bills paid. It's like somebody has to fess up to that.
Well, look, I certainly am not perfect. I certainly have my share of mistakes. What I have found in every single case is when I lean into them, acknowledge it for what it is. In some cases, maybe explain my position. It might be slightly different. And then move forward and try to make amends in any way that I possibly can. It goes a long, long, long way toward restoring relationship. And that's really what we're talking about here. This is relationship. And so, yes, you can get behind. Yes, it's not comfortable. Although I do challenge that. I mean, I believe that policy is policy is policy.
Sure.
And so, I mean, if we're going to give a month grace period, that should be open to every resident or every utility customer in the city of Rocky Mount.
Plus, we're talking about we're talking about a city councilman who voted.
That's right.
Who voted to raise utility rates. We're all not paying his own bill. So I mean, it's a little bit more.
Sure.
Just getting behind, but I'm just trying to put the human element.
No, and I think you're absolutely right.
I don't like it when on social media when people demonize Andre, and I certainly can't stand when racism gets involved. It always rears its ugly head. You know what I mean? It's like you can't talk for 5 minutes about something until somebody says something extremely racist, and then I get uncomfortable because it's like, don't assume that I agree with you just because,
Well, look, I mean, 85% of those folks, I mean, I've polled 3 or 4 times during my campaign and since, 84 to 86% consistently across the board, I don't care what category, what party, what race, what sex, 86%. They said what they wanted is the mayor to bring unity into the city. So that's always top of mind awareness. So when you start talking about division and demonizing people, I think you're absolutely right. Look, first of all, we got to do the right thing.
Right.
Right. We got to always do the right thing by the people that have hired us, the people that have given us, entrusted us with this responsibility.
Right.
And then second of all, we need to be trying to work together in a positive direction for the benefit of the city, for the residents, rather than getting caught up in the mire, which is one of the reasons that I've spent the time trying to understand exactly what are the issues, what can be done, not be done. A lot of falsehoods out there. You'd be amazed at the number of texts I've gotten saying you just fire them all, and they'll give me an article from somewhere in North Dakota. And I said, well, that's great if you're a mayor in North Dakota, but North Carolina law doesn't give me that kind of latitude.
Right.
But the point is, we need to move forward we need to decide what the issue is. We need to vote on it. We need to be clear as to who's standing where over what. We need to recognize that when it gets to the polls the next time. And this is a republic, right? So we get the opportunity to vote people in and out, and they've got to make their own case as to why they're there. I think, though, that from a more global, statesman-like approach, we need to get above the fray, and we need to figure out what it is we need to do going forward. And we need to find people that plug into that mission and that vision or not. And you know what? The great citizens of the city of Rocky Mount get the choice at the end of the day.
That's exactly.
So it doesn't really matter what I say. I know I have a job, I have an assignment, and I know what that is, and I'm trying to bring it to closure as quickly as possible, whatever that looks like. And it's not pretty, it's just, conflict is just never pretty. And this is conflict. But you know what, if we can minimize the impact to our psyche and to the soul of our city, then I think we are the better off for it.
Well, I think there are 3 aspects the citizens want to know. What are we going to do about this? How can we restore the public trust?
Right.
where do we go from here?
Right.
I think that's the three things that the public wants to know.
And I've been
Sandy.
working diligently since I saw, Lindel's article texted to me in a parking lot on Friday or Thursday or whatever it was. That's why I worked all day Friday trying to get those answers, because I think that's important, right?
Yes.
You hear, oh God, there's criminality here. Well, yeah, I'm not sure there's criminality. I mean, if I am a known utility user and the debt was forgiven, well, that's not criminal. It's unethical for sure. Right. Now, there may be a tax evasion issue there because that's also income.
Right.
And did I file that on my taxes or not? That's another issue. But the point is, let's step back from the emotion. Let's understand really what it is that we're looking at, right, and what our options for our paths are, and then make that direction accordingly. Never forgetting who we're serving, and that's really the residents of the city of Rocky Mount.
Well, I think you've been a great leader. Appreciate everything you've done. Appreciate you, Mayor.
Thank you.
We'll have you back again as this goes on to give us an update, and watch the Mayor's Brief, 7 o'clock on Thursdays every week. Used to be second and fourth, but we have much to tell. So it's every week, and we're so proud to have the Mayor's Show on our station, WHIG. So anyway, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Guys.
I didn't know I was going to be here, so thank you for coming.
We'll be right back.
All right.
At Badcock Home Furniture and More, Joe found the perfect mattress, and Jill found the perfect bedroom set, and lamps, and rug, and more to go with it.
Badcock.com brings the store to your door with thousands of items to choose from, with hometown values, outstanding service, and no credit refused. Shop online or in-store with Badcock Home Furniture and More, treating customers right for over 115 years.
The Strawberry Patch is family owned by the Tim Fisher family, and they invite you and your family to come and pick some of the largest strawberries you've ever seen. It's a fun place with fresh picked strawberries, fresh and ready to go, or if you want to save some money, you can pick them yourself. It's fun and good exercise. Load up the kids. They can be farmers for the day. You can always call 442-6235 for more information.
And so come on out to the Fisher Farm, the Strawberry Patch, and you will be glad you did.
Welcome to Davis Furniture Company in historical downtown Rocky Mount, where we treat our customers like family. We have 16,000 square feet of floor space for furniture and accessories to help make your house a home. For over 30 years, we've believed in offering quality furniture at the best prices with strong customer service. We also offer in-store financing, delivery, and something you won't find anywhere else. We truly love our customers. We pride ourselves in our relationship with you. Come by and see the Davis difference at Davis Furniture Company.
I'm Daniel Moss, owner of Cornerstone Funeral Home, and I'd like to invite you and your family to give our family an opportunity to serve you in your time of need. And we offer a full line of funeral services, everything from visitations to graveside services to cremations on site with a live crematory, as well as a banquet hall to meet the catering needs of our families that we serve. We offer catering service. We offer refreshments prior to visitations and services of our family. And we want to invite you to come and experience the difference here at Cornerstone Funeral Home.
The Strawberry Patch is family owned by the Tim Fisher family, and they invite you and your family to come and pick some of the largest strawberries you've ever seen. It's a fun place with fresh picked strawberries, fresh and ready to go, or if you want to save some money, you can pick them yourself. It's fun and good exercise. Load up the kids. They can be farmers for the day. You can always call 442-6235 for more information.
And so come on out to the Fisher Farm, the Strawberry Patch, and you will be glad you did.
This weather segment is brought to you by Fred's Food Club, the home of rock bottom prices. We accept cash, credit, debit, and EBT cards with new extended hours and 3 locations to serve you in Rocky Mount, Wilson, and Greenville. Also, our Biker's Forecast is brought to you by Black Cat Harley Davidson in Rocky Mount.
Time to take a final look at our weather this morning. Of course, Tropical Storm Arthur moving slowly towards the Outer Banks. It's located about 50 miles south-southwest of Cape Hatteras. Winds at 45 miles per hour, gusting up around 60, and it will be moving on out of the area. Let's take a look at our conditions right now. 65 degrees, dew point at 64, relative humidity 97%, north wind at 12, 29.88 on the barometer. Well, we have a low pressure system to our west. It's going to bring us more rain than what we would see out of Arthur. That will be arriving later this afternoon, and then we could get a lull between let's see, it'll arrive early this afternoon, and then we'll get a lull into the evening, and then it will pick up again overnight, and we'll see pretty good rainfall out of this system. Let's take a look at the forecast for 2 o'clock, and this is 2 o'clock today. We'll see this area right in here, our area, with just a chance of rain. The heavier rain will be back over that dark green, and that will be the area where it's most likely. That, of course, will be moving to the east. And right above Arthur here, you'll see a stationary front. This is going to steer Arthur on out because it won't cross that front, and it's not strong enough to push it back. So it will just turn and go out and eventually in 2 or 3 days dissipate over the Atlantic Ocean. Well, let's look at our forecast now for today. We'll see cloudy skies, showers likely, high 74. Tonight, cloudy, showers becoming likely, low of 60. And for Tuesday, cloudy, showers and thunderstorms possible with a high of 67. Tuesday night, showers likely, a thunderstorm possible, low of 56. Wednesday and Wednesday night, showers likely, thunderstorm possible Wednesday afternoon, high of 67, and a low of 61 Wednesday night. Thursday and Thursday night, chance of showers and thunderstorms with a high of 74, a low of 63. And Friday, partly cloudy, chance of showers, high of 78. And Friday night, partly cloudy, a low of 63. Looking across the country yesterday, the warmest temperature, 104 at Death Valley and Pikes Peak. Colorado had a low of 24. Looking at the biker forecast for today, cloudy, chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms, and the temperature approaching the lower 70s, winds north 10 to 20, and the visibility around 7 miles, rain chance 70%. The concerns will be for wet roads and lightning during those thunderstorms. Currently 65 degrees, that's your weather right up to now.
Okay, welcome back. Well, I would have to say that the mayor has definite emotion in all of this. He said he was very emotional about it. He cares about Rocky Mount. He grew up here. He was born here. He grew up here. He's had businesses here. And he cares about the citizens of Rocky Mount. He's got a TV show. He's on social media all the time telling you what's going on. Transparency is the word. He's trying to create transparency that we have not had. So anyway.
I've always heard that give a job to someone who don't want it and they'll do the best job.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of fits Sandy in a way that he doesn't need to be mayor.
That's exactly
and I was
right.
really puzzled when he started running last year. Because the guy does rather well in his private businesses. Why would he take this on? But apparently he cares about it enough to do that.
Well, he gave his salary for a year, for the rest of this year, to the United Way.
Yeah.
So, that tells you he really cares. So in summarizing, I guess Lindel and I will be back to carry you through the story periodically as time goes on. I guess he and I are assigned this beat with what he does and what I do. So, and of course the Telegram, we won't leave them out. Folks, this is your local media, and when I say local media, Wilson's local too. We cover Wilson. We have Wilson great Wilson viewership. We're on Greenlight in Wilson. We're on CenturyLink Cable in Prism TV in Wilson. So we love our Wilson viewers as well. So Lindel now writes for the Spring Hope Enterprise and Wilson Times.
How much time have we got?
Go ahead.
2 minutes. I want to say something.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I've seen on social media a lot where people have been confused about why I'm not at the television.
Yes,
and they'll
that's a good thing for you to say.
Oh, he got run out of town, or whatever.
Well, you did. Why don't you admit it?
No. What happened?
didn't.
What happened is like I said Friday. I've got a year left full time in this business.
Right.
I mean, I'll always write newspaper.
Yeah, sure.
There might not be newspapers, but I mean, I'll always write some sort of news story. But I had an opportunity to take a job that was half a block from my house, right? And my wife works at the library. She's the librarian there in Spring Hope. Mm-hmm. Her office is right across the street from mine. So when I started looking at things, it's like, do I want to spend my last year? I've been doing this a long time. Do I want to spend my last year commuting to Rocky Mount every day from Spring Hope, or do I want to walk 60 feet to my office?
Right.
And now the shutdown has affected. The shutdown has affected things.
Right.
But prior to the shutdown, this would be my typical day.
Mm-hmm.
I would get up, I would walk the dogs, I'd feed the chickens, then me and Michelle would walk to work. At lunchtime, we would go together to get something to eat,
Mm-hmm.
and then we would go back to work, and then we would walk home together.
Okay.
How do you pass that
How
up?
nice.
Exactly. It's like Nicholas Sparks.
Yeah, that's
life.
a no-brainer.
How do you pass that up for a 30-minute commute one way every day?
Right.
That's all there was to it. And plus, I still get to report on Nash County. I'm still reporting on Spring Hope, and I'm here in Rocky Mount for there's two things in Rocky Mount that I'm never going to give up. And that's the City Hall situation.
Right.
And that's those poor women that were murdered 15 years
Right.
ago.
And we are going to get back on that,
and
Lindel.
those are two things that I'm never going to give up. But I just want people to know that no, there's no problem between me and the Telegram. I wasn't run out of town by the city council.
That's
there's none of this nonsense. It's just sometimes you have to take the job that's best for your family. And I've had a good. I mean, it's been good to me.
Mm-hmm.
The ulcers are going down. All the headaches, and I mean, it's been really good. So, when I found out that this audit report was coming out, I felt sort of obliged to report on it because I did do a lot of heavy lifting on it last year.
Right, you did.
And it's still in our coverage, in the Wilson Times coverage area, and it's in the Spring Hope coverage area under Nash County as well. So, I mean, I'm doing the work for them. Like you mentioned, the Telegram, they're doing a great job. Bill's story over the weekend and this morning about the Mayor Combs was really good. He always seems to find something that I missed, So, I mean, it's absolutely no problem anywhere other than I wanted to spend more time at home with the wife. 25
sense.
years in August. I'll be married 25 years. So
wow,
exactly.
You made it.
Yeah, exactly.
This long.
So that's all that. I mean, I don't know how much. I don't know what time we got left. I'm kind of out of. Well, we got 5 minutes left.
We are almost out of time. So as we said, and we've got to do a mention today as well. We do mentions for businesses. That's kind of another way that we can sell ads too on the morning show. They like to be mentioned on the morning show because they know our traffic. Patios and Blooms.
Who is it?
Patios and Blooms out on Highway 43 at Dorches. All your patio.
How do you know all that? Where are you reading that from? You're just saying.
Well, no, I shop there.
You do that? Oh,
I shop there.
That's the real plug right there.
No, really. Gina wanted me to let everybody know that she's got all the outdoor patio equipment that you need, chairs, umbrellas, bird houses, bird feeders, She's got it all.
Where's
so
this
go
at
check
again?
her out. It's on 43 going towards like Smith's Red and White when you're going out.
Oh, yeah, I gotta
Down
check it out.
43. It's right on 43. Patios in Bloom. It's right beside Drummond's Florist. If you know where Drummond's Florist is, it's sitting right beside it. And that's another plug for them because I love Drummond's Florist. So anyway, just want to put that plug in for Gina today at Patios in Bloom. So make it a great day, everybody. Hope you enjoyed Lindel and myself. Lindel, I don't think this will be your last time. We're going.
Yeah.
You did well enough that we're gonna invite you back.
Thanks.
I guess.
Are you gonna let me know that I'm gonna be on here the whole time next time, or just spring that on me?
I'll
again?
just spring it on you. It doesn't matter. Sorry though, I do have respect for your schedule, so I guess I better do that.
I don't. What you? I haven't went to sleep since yesterday.
Oh God!
I got off work this morning at 6 o'clock on my security job and came straight over here.
Oh my
I told you I
gosh.
got to work 2 jobs. I got 5 kids to feed.
We have electric bills to pay.
Oh, you stole my joke, Sandra. Come on, now I was leading up to that.
I'm sorry.
My 2 jobs, I do private security, I do news reporting. On
Yes.
both of them, I observe and I report. I found that my 2 careers influence each other tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I can look at things a certain way. I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that reporter that went, although I did go to college, it was later, you know, so I learned kind of on the street, you know, watching criminals as a
Wow.
as a private security. So yeah,
Interesting.
I haven't had sleep in 2 days, I think, but you know.
Wow.
I
You
learned
don't
in the
want to
Navy-
see me if
I
I've
learned-
been 2 days without sleep.
I learned in the
can
Navy
tell you that.
in the Navy, I learned that you can
You don't
always
wanna be
catch up on
around me.
sleep. You don't, you know, sleep's not a big thing. You can always,
It is for me.
you can always catch up on it.
Well, Lindel and I will be back at some point to bring you further. As Lindel said, the meeting, the city council meeting is Thursday. We don't know what's gonna, you know, be on the agenda for that, except that, you know, let's see what they will they address Andre? Will they ask him to admit it? Will they, you know, here again, we are saying that we know that Andre Knight is the person in that audit. So have a great day, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.